So, have you ever wondered, the starvation mode, does it even exist? Well, today's video is for you. Hi, I'm Alexa Klein, dietitian, sports dietitian, and nutrition coach. Welcome back to one of my videos. Thank you so much for watching, as always. And remember, before we deep dive into today's video, remember to subscribe, ring the bell, awesome. So I couldn't tell you how many times people have asked me, does starvation mode exist? Similarly, the amount of time people have casually just kind of said, oh, I feel like I'm in starvation mode, okay? I'm not eating a lot of food, but I'm gaining weight. I'm not eating a lot of food, but weight loss is just not coming. It's safe to say this topic needs to be addressed. So let's dive into this. So what is starvation mode? Let's start with that. Let's define it first and then flesh it out. So the general term in society, the one that's kind of got a lot of misinformation around it, is the notion that starvation mode is this phenomenon where you're under eating calories to such an extent that over time what happens is your weight loss just plateaus and you can't lose any more weight no matter what you do, no matter if you're in a deficit or not in a deficit. And also some say that you may even gain weight as a result of it, okay? The extreme levels of starvation mode people propose that you gain weight as a result of under eating calories, but still doing exercise, under eating calories, not fueling your needs. But is this true? Or is this just complete myth? That's what I'm going to answer for you today. I mean, simply put, when you look at the definition, the notion that under eating calories, even if you're in a supposed deficit, will lead to weight gain, in itself is quite an aggressive suggestion. So it's no doubt that people are confused by this. No doubt that people are either worried that this is occurring to them or believe that it may be true. Because remember, when something seems so extreme, it's a lot easier to get that fear to drive people to think that way. And that is something that we just got to address. In fact, when you look at the science, like things that have been studied, it's actually shown that we as humans, even dietitians such as myself, underestimate what we eat. For some people, up to 50% less than what we actually would be consuming. So as you can see, there's a lot of discrepancy between what's actually consumed and what is actually not consumed, okay? There's a lot of discrepancy there. And because of that, using that as a basis to determine if someone is or isn't in a starvation mode is very, very hard in itself. So it's no doubt that a lot of people feel they're not eating enough, feel like they're hardly eating anything, okay? As they would say, I'm eating all the right foods or I'm hardly eating anything, yet they still say they're gaining weight. So what is it? Is starvation mode the thing? Or is it just something different and people are getting confused? Well, the truth is this, okay? The blunt truth is this. Starvation mode, in a sense that you may believe it to be the case, doesn't exist, okay? That kind of starvation mode just does not exist. It's physiologically impossible. It goes against the human body, it goes against science, it goes against nutrition science. And it's very, very much so not what's causing you to not lose weight. It's very much so not the reason that you are gaining weight, okay? Trust me on this. Trust me, I'm a dietitian. I mean, just look at the history, okay? Like some of the horrible things that have happened in the past where starvation was a reality for many people. And you can actually see that starvation, true starvation, will lead to weight loss, okay? Obviously not in a healthy way, obviously, but starvation exists. There's no such thing as being in starvation mode and your body can't lose weight. That's just not how it works. However, what does exist, and I think this is where people get confused, this is what people are misinterpreting as starvation mode, is this thing called metabolic adaptation. Perhaps you've heard of it, perhaps not, but I'm going to explain it to you today so you know exactly what I'm talking about and so that you can have more information about your nutrition. So when you're looking at your change, when you're looking at your progress, you can look at it through the lens of clarity and the lens of scientific truth. So metabolic adaptation, I've just mentioned this word. What on earth is it? Well, in essence, metabolic adaptation is your own natural, intrinsic survival mechanism. Okay, it aims to preserve. It's a preservation mechanism to prevent you from dying, okay? That's essentially what it is. It's to prevent you from losing your livelihood, from maintaining your calories in, calories out in such a way that you can survive and can thrive. It goes back to our caveman days. So remember, a lot of our body is still very primal, okay? Still doesn't recognize that you can drive to the supermarket 5 minutes away. There's a drive-through on every corner. It just doesn't recognize this. You know it. You know you want to get leaner. You know you want to, boost your muscle, whatever it may be. But your body doesn't work that way. The body gravitates towards its comfort zone. The body likes to be in its little bubble, so to speak. And over time, different genetics, different lifestyles will develop this new comfort zone for you. And because of that, the body tries to keep you within that. Whether it is in an unhealthy weight range, whether it isn't, doesn't matter here. The point is that your body will try and keep you into a homeostasis, okay? A homeostatic kind of balance that it deems you should be in. So therefore, when you push its limits, when you get into a caloric deficit over time, your body does put into place some mechanisms, gets things moving, so to speak, to prevent that from happening to a degree. And I'll explain that in a sec in more in depth. So how does it work? How does metabolic adaptation do this? Okay, how does it keep you from thriving and surviving and makes it harder for you to lose weight? What exactly does it do to you? Well, in essence, it reduces your caloric output while putting things in place to make it easier to increase your caloric input. It makes it harder for you to get leaner after certain thresholds. And that's what you kind of call the weight plateaus. That's literally metabolic adaptation in work. When you achieve a true weight plateau, when you're doing everything right, you're doing consistently and your body's just kind of just cruising along, just chilling, doing not much, your weight plateaus as a result of metabolic adaptation. That's literally what it is. And it does this in certain ways. You may be wondering how. Well, it's actually simple. Makes you hungrier, slows down your metabolism, increases fat storage efficiency, makes you quote unquote lazier by moving less, conserves more calories, and also primes your body for weight regain. That is why you find weight loss gets harder the longer you do it. And that is also why there is a rebound effect when someone abruptly stops a diet and they get that regain train going, okay? When they get that abrupt gain in body weight that just seems to happen out of nowhere. Think of it this way, your body is waiting, okay? It starts recognizing you're trying to get into a deficit. You're doing it, especially if you're doing it chronically for a long period of time, doing just dieting, deficits. Your body's waiting. It's salivating. It's primed and ready to go. And it's waiting for you to kind of let off the pedal so it can do its thing. So that is why metabolic adaptation is really driven by this, change in your caloric intake. So over time, if you're cutting calories without a strategy especially, and you're cutting to such a point where you are consuming inadequate fuel, where you're not consuming enough for your body's needs, especially if you're an athlete and very athletic, which perhaps you are if you're watching this video, well, in that case, what happens is the body does kind of, for lack of a better wording, some people can fast track that metabolic adaptation, okay? It can fast track that process and make it even harder for you to lose weight. But it's not starvation mode. It's just metabolic adaptation trying to make you survive. Okay? It doesn't know that you can actually go and eat food you won't not survive. But it does this in a way to protect itself, to stay in a comfort zone. But this is where people get it wrong. They think that that's it. Okay, you're in starvation mode now. You can't lose weight unless you eat more. Well, not exactly. While in those cases where there's an extreme deficit that needs to be rectified, while yes, you probably should be starting to eat more, and that's something you'd have to be working with a sports dietitian to really look at. That's why I recommend always working with someone when it comes to nutrition. But if you actually eat less than that deficit even further, you will lose more weight. It's not healthy to do, of course, but you will lose more weight. So there's no such thing as you suddenly being in deficit and you can't lose weight. You'll keep losing weight. At a certain threshold, it'll be an unhealthy weight loss, but it'll be weight loss nonetheless. So the whole concept of starvation mode and this whole kind of issue is for me to illustrate to you that perhaps what's happening, especially if you've got a lot more body fat to lose and you're not really at the lean levels, is that you have to really audit yourself. See if what you are saying you're eating is truly what you're eating. Because a lot of times what's happening is you haven't eaten inadequate fuel. More times than not, what's happened is you are just not really knowing what your numbers are. Okay, you're not knowing what your deficit truly is. And perhaps you could actually go into a further deficit in a healthy way, but you think that you're not because you think you're eating 1,000 calories. Well, there's very few cases in the world where someone will eat 1,000 calories, even 1,200 calories, and not lose weight. Okay, if they've got some body fat to lose. Okay, trust me on this. So, but let's say you audit yourself and you're like, yeah, no, Alexa, I really actually am eating only 1,200 or less, and it seems to be stopping. Well, perhaps most likely you are at a leaner level. Okay, your body's at a leaner level, and in that case, you shouldn't be pushing the threshold. Okay, seek out, if you're not working with a dietitian already, seek out a dietitian. Look at ways to kind of reverse diet breaks, different strategies, because it's not all about deficits. Okay, I said it's not just about weight loss. Okay. You got to use different strategies, different phases, okay, different seasons, I like to say, when it comes to your nutrition. That's how you're going to get the best from it. That's how you're going to make it a bit more of a lifestyle approach, a long-term approach, so you can get better results in the long term, sustainable results in the long term. So yeah, I see it time and time again, individuals who have a high percentage body fat, they're saying that they're in starvation mode by eating 1,200 calories or less and not losing weight. More likely than not, the reality is that the actual amount you're consuming is more than you think. And in actual fact, it's all about just auditing your approach and seeing what you truly are eating and iterating from there. Okay, trust me. But if you're someone who's lean, obviously, that could be a different story. If you've been chronically dieting, let's say to be stage ready, or you're just generally chronically dieting because you're very strict with yourself and you're going to be really lean all the time, then perhaps you have been causing yourself some issues there with really fast tracking and keeping that metabolic adaptation going and kind of affecting your metabolism and affecting all these different things. And perhaps then you have to reverse out. But If you're in that case, you're probably not worried about the body fat levels losing. You're probably just preoccupied with this sense of being in a deficit that just needs to be rectified by reframing your mindset around it and reframing your approach. Because remember, with nutrition and performance nutrition, all that sort of stuff, it's not about being the leanest possible person. It's not about eating the lowest amount of calories. Okay, that's not what the game is about. You have to find a thing that's healthy, sustainable, and can actually optimize you for you to reach your goals. Okay, while maintaining all those other parameters. And yes, perhaps achieving the body that you desire. But you can't just be pushing the envelope for the sake of pushing the envelope, because leaner does not always equal better performance. Leaner does not always equal more confidence. Okay, they're not synonymous with each other necessarily. So you got to think about it in a more holistic approach. You got to think about it in a more broader stroke, say, because you want to be looking at yourself for the long term. You don't want to be compromising your health in the short term and then missing out on the long term benefits. Trust me, that's something that you really need to understand. And a lot of people need to understand, and perhaps you need to hear today from me to kind of make it click and get things moving in that right direction. So yeah, to wrap it up, starvation mode in the sense that you may be thinking it exists, doesn't exist. What it does exist is metabolic adaptation, which is your body's natural mechanism for survival because it wants to preserve its comfort zone, and it's just a natural part of it. It's something that's inevitable, and you can overcome it with the right strategy, but you got to look at it from the lens of where are you on your journey, how lean are you, how long have you been dieting, to really determine whether you should be breaking that plateau or whether you should be maybe reversing out or using a different strategy. Like I've said time and time again, that's where a sports dietitian can be really helpful. So if that's something that you really want help with, someone to personally guide you, take out the guesswork, and direct you in the right way to provide you a roadmap to get from A to B, reach out, okay, and I'll help you with that. Okay, so now you now know the truth around starvation mode, and I hope this video has been helpful to you. You now understand that metabolic adaptation is not only a natural part, but an inevitable part of the process, and something that you will have to overcome at some stage, but you got to look at it from a broader lens as well. Of course, if you have any questions for today's topic, please drop them below and let me know, and I'll reach out to you and help you. Of course, as well, if you want to reach out for email, that's perfectly okay as well. Just shoot it over to alexa@theclimbingdietitian.com.au. That's dietitian with a T. If this video was helpful, if it really helped give you clarity around your nutrition, please hit the like button and show it to Lom so I know that I've been helping you. Subscribe if you haven't already done so. Stay classy. I'll see you next time. Have a good one.